In this video, we will dive into the Setup Sheet Manager options for refining a template. Let's go and open our manager and see all our options. So each sheet inside Excel can have its own purpose. And here, you can define the purpose of your sheet. This one is Setup Sheet Template Design or .xll extension. This means that this sheet will be used when we are generating Setup Sheet. And here, we define our design, we define our formulas, and everything that we want to see in our final output. Of course, there is one more purpose, and a sheet can be user data container. So for example, if we create a new sheet, and here we specify that we want it to be a user data container, we can go and apply the formatting, so yes, and here now we have our user data container sheet. What this means is that you can define your user variables here with some values, some descriptions, of course, and you can use these variables inside the design sheet. All right. So next thing to say here is that you can define a sheet that's also an XLL design. So it doesn't mean that you can only have one sheet with the XLL design. You can have multiple sheets. For example, the first one is the cover page. The second one, you can go and rename and say tools. Then you can have a third one and you can rename it and say operations. All of these sheets can be defined with different XLL designs. So operations, you can also say my purpose is design, and I can design here a completely new setup sheet template. Of course, there are different options that we'll talk about for outputting such templates, but at the end, in the final document, what you will get here is 3 sheets. One would be design, one would be tools, one would be operations. Let's go back to the design, and here we have one finished XLL design. Here in the worksheet template, you design your setup. So you can add a page, which means that in this page you can add different sections, and under each section you can define your own subsection or a child section. Everything that you define in one page and then you define the second page means that here you have a page break. Even if all of this can fit on one page and this one also can fit on the first page, if you have a page here, it means that you're starting with a page break. Of course, this can be also changed. If you go on the page, here you have a start page break option and you can change it from true to be false. This means then that your page will not start with a page break, but rather it would be the same if you put this section here on this page. Here, basically like in SolidCam, you are defining your cam tree, but here you are defining your setup sheet tree. So if I double click on the general section, I can see everything that is my general section. So all of this will be my cover page. For my tool section, I can go and double click. So this is my tool section, and this will be repeated for each of the tool indexes. For example, for the operation section, if I double click, this will be repeated for each operation. And for the setup, I have here everything under setups here. Each of the pages can have its own options, which are defined here, and we'll go through them in the next videos. Each of the sections, again, has its own purpose and many options. And each subsection can also have a lot of different options, which we will go through. This is the basics of your setup sheet manager inside your template. Thank you for watching this video, and see you in the next one.